So I realise you can't quite see me at the moment because the cameras are on Taylor. He's one of the stars of Cats. Now, Taylor, who do you play?
I play Bill Bailey in the show.
And talk me through that character.
So Bill Bailey is actually the youngest character in the show, and he's dominantly an acrobat. So he flips around the stage and does all these amazing tumbles throughout the show. Because I'm one of the younger cats, I'm very small and very kind of looking at under the bigger cat's feet a lot of the time.
It's all coming back to me. So you do acrobats. I'm going to get to the makeup in a second because I can see that you're fervently starting to put that on. When did you start your acrobatics?
I started my acrobatics when I was quite young. I did trampolining on and off from the age of 11, 12, and I actually got into the national team of trampolining out in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. And from there I really wanted to do tumbling, but I got just dominantly straight into gymnastics and then into trampolining, and then from there I went into dance and took my trampolining aspects and kind of moved it into dance, so I was able to get acrobats from that.
Fabulous. And so did you find it was a pretty easy transition to go from being an acrobat to a dancer?
It was. I mean, when I did my audition for it, I remember lining up and the director saying, "Go into first position," and that's just in ballet. And here I was, this gymnast, going, "What is that? I don't have no idea what that means." And so the transition was actually, in the terms of having ballet and stuff like that, was quite hard, but because of gymnastics and trampolining, you learn a lot about balance and a lot about where your body is, so it was quite easy to pick up a lot of the steps and get the determination and motivation that you get drilled into with gymnasts as well. So.
And I'd imagine that so much of it is that discipline and practice, and yeah. So how long have you been in the Cats team for?
So since New Zealand last year when we started in rehearsals in August last year, and been doing it ever since.
Fun. And what do you love most about it?
I love that every show that we go on, we do something different. I mean, we get a lot of creative freedom with this show, so we get a lot of improvisation, a lot of freedom with the show, so we can really change it up, not too much, but change it up throughout the show every single night.
That's really something special, because a lot of the time in these big musicals it's so streamlined and so, dare I say, manufactured, that to have that creative control, it must be really exciting and fun. And
because we are cats, I mean, they wouldn't do the same thing every single time, so it's quite funny. In part of the show there's a really slow part, and so I don't literally go to sleep, but I act like I'm going to sleep.
You have a cat nap?
I'm a cat. Cat would go to sleep if they wanted to, so I'm just going to sleep.
Yeah, and if someone's annoying you, just kind of get the claws out, have a bit of a scratch, have a cat fight.
That's it.
Great. Now, well, let's get to the makeup. So, I mean, you'd be doing this every night. Are you still loving it, or is it a little bit tiresome?
No, I love it. I mean, it's all part of the creation of it all. So, I mean, I love drawing, I love designing and everything. So this is kind of a step into the next direction of it all, and you can have a little bit of freedom with it. But once you got your main set of what you got, it's really interesting, and because when we started, it took us a while to find our own little knickknacks of what our faces were suiting the actual styles of the makeup, and to modify it to our faces is a massive journey. I think we're still all little now and then changing it up if we feel.
Yeah. And so, does every single person who's had your character around the world have the exact same face to put on?
It's similar, but we still get. It's not as strict in a way. We get a little bit more freedom with this as well, and it's because everyone's facial structure is very different. So we have to really modify it depending on what our facial structure is, depending on the makeup as well.
So, I mean, if someone saw it 30 years ago, what would you say to them if they were coming back this time round?
Well, it's actually quite interesting because it's a new revival of Cats, so there's quite a lot of new actual parts to the show. The Rum Tum Tug has been updated into more of a modern rap, and the dance part of the ball that goes for 15 minutes is always kind of has a lot of little modifications in it as well. So I think and because we have all that freedom to be something a little bit different, I think if you came every single night, you'd be seeing a different show in a way. So, I mean, I encourage people to come as many times as you want, because you're always going to get a different show.
And so there's so many new aspiring musical theatre performers in Australia. What bits of advice would you give to them if they're wanting a career in the musical theatre industry?
Especially in the musical theatre industry, I would say that you need to keep to your own beliefs, 100%. You get there's a lot of people in the musical theatre industry that are very well known, and you aspire to, but you want to take them, get your goals out of that. But in musical theatre, I think there's a lot of there can be a lot of pressure because there's so many of us as well, and there's so many auditions. There's just so many people wanting the same job. If I had to give any advice, would just be stay true to kind of who you are and what you really believe in. Don't get disheartened if you don't get the certain job that you want. I believe everything happens for a reason, and that if you don't get that show, you don't need it at that time. And there's so many shows, and I'm really proud to be Australian as well, because the musical theatre in Australia is just gone crazy at the moment.
Well, thanks so much for chatting to us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.